You thought the silence meant abandonment. You assumed the waiting room of life was a punishment, a cruel holding cell for the forgotten. But what if I told you it was never punishment at all? What if the delay, the detour, the unanswered doors were divine strategy, protection dressed in patience? You weren't being denied, you were being preserved. Life knew what you didn't. It saw battles behind the doors you were begging to enter, storms behind the blessings you thought you were ready for. And while you questioned your worth, life was securing your future not by speeding things up, but by slowing you down so you could survive what was next. This delay was a shield, and now it's time to see it for what it really was. Life's delays aren't denials, they're strategic shields. There are moments in life when the silence feels deafening, when the doors we knock on remain shut no matter how desperately we try to open them. We watch others move ahead, succeed, build, arrive, and in that comparison, we feel forgotten. We tell ourselves we've been left behind, overlooked, denied. But what if that closed door wasn't rejection? What if it was protection? What if the detour you resented was the very thing that saved your future? It's difficult to accept, especially when we're hurting. That delay might be a form of care. We're wired to believe that faster is better, that immediate results mean progress. But growth doesn't happen on demand. It happens underground, beneath the surface, in the silence, and often in the delay. We live in a world addicted to acceleration, but acceleration without direction is dangerous. Imagine being handed the keys to a powerful machine before you've learned how to steer. That kind of gift given too soon can harm more than it helps. Life, in its wisdom, sometimes steps in not to block us, but to brace us. The delay becomes a hidden hand, gently pulling us back so we don't walk into rooms we're not built to stand in yet. You see, what we call missed opportunity may have actually been misaligned timing. There's a difference between something being denied to you and something not yet being safe for you. Sometimes we're asking for positions, relationships, or platforms that our character hasn't caught up to yet. We think we're ready, but readiness isn't measured by desire, it's measured by depth. Can you carry what you're asking for without it breaking you? Many people only see the delay, they don't see what the delay spared them from. That job you didn't get, it might have burned you out. That relationship that didn't work, it may have pulled you away from your purpose. That opportunity that fell through, it may have led you down a path you weren't meant to walk. Not every no was a punishment. Some were divine detours. It takes maturity to recognize the difference. When you're younger, or when your spirit is still healing, delays feel like rejection. But as you grow, you begin to see them differently. You begin to understand that just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it never will. It simply means the right pieces haven't aligned yet. And if you force alignment before it's time, you end up carrying a weight you're not trained for. Life doesn't always explain its timing. It doesn't always offer clear reasons for the pauses, and the pauses are where doubt can creep in. But there's wisdom in the wait, if you're willing to look for it. The space between where you are and where you want to be is filled with preparation. Growth isn't always visible, but it is always necessary. You weren't being punished, you were being protected. Not because you were weak, but because your future was too valuable to be rushed. Delays are not life's way of holding you back. They are often its way of setting you up to endure, to sustain, to flourish when the time is truly right. You weren't rejected, you were being refined. So don't curse the delay, don't resent the waiting. It's not a sign that life has turned its back on you, it's a sign that something more stable, more aligned, more lasting is being prepared. The delay may not feel like a gift right now, but one day you'll look back and realize it saved you, not from failure, but from stepping into something before you were fully ready to rise within it. Your character had to be tempered before the crown could fit. There's a deep misunderstanding in our culture today, the belief that talent alone is enough. That if you're gifted, doors should fly open. That if you're passionate, you should rise quickly. But life doesn't hand out crowns to those who haven't first been trained to carry their weight. Elevation without preparation is a setup for collapse. The delay wasn't a denial of your potential. It was a development of your character. Character is forged, not gifted. It's built in the quiet places in obscurity, not spotlight. And that's where many struggle. We want the outcome, but we resist the process. We long for recognition, but skip the refinement. But life doesn't skip steps. You can't wear a crown with a fragile neck. The higher the position, the stronger the structure underneath it needs to be. There are things you've prayed for, longed for, that would have crushed you had they arrived too soon. Not because you're unworthy, but because the version of you at that time hadn't been shaped enough to sustain them. And that shaping often comes through trials, through pressure, through moments when everything feels still, when nothing makes sense, yet somehow, deep down, something in you is being fortified. You may have felt hidden in this season, like the world kept moving while you stayed behind. But sometimes life hides what it's healing. It conceals what it's cultivating, not out of cruelty but care. Because if the world saw you too soon before the roots were deep, it might have uprooted you before you were truly ready. There's a reason kings train long before they rule. The crown isn't heavy because of its gold, it's heavy because of its responsibility. You don't just need skill to lead, you need strength of soul. And that strength doesn't come from applause, it comes from private victories, from integrity tested when no one is watching, from learning how to stay grounded when everything around you feels uncertain. The delay in your life wasn't to embarrass you, it was to equip you. It wasn't there to make you feel left behind, it was there to make sure you wouldn't fall apart when you finally arrived. Life, in its wisdom, knows that a quick rise often leads to a quick fall. But those who are built slowly, those who are tested deeply, they last. Think about the strongest buildings in the world. They don't rise overnight. Before they reach upward, construction crews dig downward, deep into the earth, laying foundations that will never be seen by the public eye. Why? Because height demands depth, and the higher your calling, the deeper your preparation must go. You're being prepared for something that not everyone will understand. People around you may question your pace. They might compare your progress to theirs, but don't let noise interrupt the narrative that life is writing in you. Every moment of delay, every unseen hour, every day you spent wondering why not yet, was not wasted. It was investment. This is the part few talk about, the part where nothing is happening on the surface, but everything is shifting beneath it. The part where your character is being tempered like steel. The fire didn't come to burn you, it came to strengthen your core. And when the crown finally comes, when the doors finally open, you won't just be ready for the opportunity. You'll be ready to sustain it. So when you feel the frustration of delay creeping in, remind yourself you are not stuck. You are being shaped. Every delay has meaning. Every quiet season has purpose. The crown was always yours, but your character had to be built to match its weight. If you had received it too soon, it would have destroyed you. There's a certain kind of pain that comes from not receiving what you believed you were ready for. It's the ache of a closed door, the silence of an unanswered prayer, the sting of watching others receive what you've been patiently waiting for. And in those moments, it's easy to assume that life is unfair, that you were somehow overlooked. But the truth is often far more complex and far more kind. You see, just because something is good doesn't mean it's good for you right now. Timing is not a detail, it's a defining factor. Receiving something too soon, before you're emotionally, mentally, or spiritually grounded enough to handle it, can do more harm than good. Not because you're not capable, but because you're not yet complete in the areas that matter most. Life doesn't withhold to punish, it withholds to protect. That relationship you wanted so badly, it might have filled a need but fractured your identity. That job you chased, it may have come with prestige but robbed you of peace. That recognition you longed for, it could have elevated your ego while starving your soul. What you thought was a gift might have become a burden if it had arrived too early. There's a reason trees don't bear fruit in every season. Nature knows that too much, too fast, without proper root, leads to collapse, and so does life. What we often forget is that blessings are not just opportunities, they are responsibilities. And if you aren't prepared to carry them, they'll carry you into exhaustion, confusion, and sometimes regret. Sometimes we only want the result. We don't see the pressure behind the platform, the cost behind the crown, the discipline behind the dream. We pray for doors to open, not realizing what's required to remain standing on the other side. That's why the delay isn't random, it's precise. It's a pause that preserves your future, a not yet, that is rich in mercy. Think about it, have you ever received something before you were ready, only to feel overwhelmed by it? The opportunity looked like a breakthrough, but it brought stress you hadn't anticipated. The spotlight felt exciting at first, but it exposed parts of you that were still fragile. That's not failure, that's insight. It's a lesson that timing matters more than speed. The truth is, some blessings come with weight. They come with expectations, attention, and responsibility. If you're not anchored deeply, they can pull you away from your values. They can pressure you into becoming someone you're not. Life sometimes steps in not to deprive you, but to develop you, so that when the moment finally comes, you're not just celebrating on the outside, but at peace within. And that inner peace, that's the real success. Because what good is a platform if you're crumbling under its pressure? What good is recognition if it only amplifies your insecurities? The delay isn't about withholding the outcome, it's about ensuring your heart, your mind, and your spirit are aligned enough to sustain it. So when life holds something back, try to look beyond the frustration. Look deeper. Ask yourself what still needs to be strengthened within you, because the greatest victories are not rushed, they are rooted. And when you're truly ready, you won't just receive the blessing, you'll be able to steward it. One day, you'll look back and thank the delay, not because it was easy, but because it saved you. It kept you from entering a chapter you weren't ready to finish. It wasn't denial, it was divine timing. And in the grand design of life, timing is everything. Delayed outcomes reveal true motives. There is something deeply revealing about delay. When time stretches and results don't come as quickly as hoped, the surface motivations begin to fade, and what's underneath is forced to emerge. Delay has a way of stripping away performance and exposing intention. It reveals whether you're committed to the outcome for its essence or just for the applause it might bring. We live in a world that rewards instant results. Quick wins are celebrated, fast fame is pursued, and many chase the appearance of success rather than its actual substance. But real purpose doesn't thrive in the shallow soil of instant gratification. It requires depth, and depth takes time to develop. When outcomes are delayed, it's not just about waiting for something, it's about learning why you wanted it in the first place. Sometimes we begin a journey with a vision that seems pure, but over time, we might discover that part of us wanted validation more than transformation. We may have started with a sincere purpose, but it got tangled with the desire for recognition. There's nothing inherently wrong with wanting to be seen, but when that becomes the main goal, the foundation weakens, and that's what delay exposes. When you keep showing up even when no one is clapping, even when no one is watching, something powerful is revealed about you. It shows that you're not performing, you're becoming. It shows that you're not just chasing a result, you're honoring a calling. Because true purpose can withstand the silence of slow seasons. It doesn't evaporate when things don't go according to plan. It endures. This is what delay teaches you if you let it. It invites you to ask hard questions. Why do I really want this? Who am I doing this for? Would I still pursue this path if no one ever noticed, if no one ever praised me for it? These aren't easy questions, but they are necessary ones, because they strip away illusion and leave only what is real. And when your motives are real, when your actions are rooted in something, authentic delay no longer feels like punishment. It starts to feel like pruning, not a cutting down but a cutting back, a refining process that makes sure when your time does come, you'll be standing on something solid, not just skill, not just effort, but truth. It's in the delay that discipline is tested. It's where passion either deepens or fades. Many start strong, but few endure. And endurance is the evidence that you're not just attached to the outcome, you're committed to the process. Because in the process, you are shaped. And sometimes that shaping is the whole point. Purpose that survives delay becomes unshakable. It no longer depends on attention or external affirmation. It becomes a quiet fire that keeps burning, no matter how long the journey takes. And that kind of purpose forged in silence, strengthened in solitude, is what lasts. It's not easily distracted. It's not easily broken. It's not easily taken. So if you're in a season where everything feels paused, where the outcomes you longed for haven't arrived, don't rush to escape it. Ask yourself what it's trying to teach you. Let it refine your motives. Let it clear out what's shallow and build what's strong. Because when the reward does come, and it will, you'll know it didn't come from pretending. It came from persistence. And that difference matters more than you know. The greatest victories come after the longest waits in a world obsessed with speed. It's easy to feel like delay equals defeat. We've been conditioned to believe that if it doesn't happen quickly, it won't happen at all. But the truth is, some of the greatest triumphs in life aren't handed out early. They are reserved for those who endure. For those who can wait without giving up, for those who are willing to walk the long road with courage, even when the destination feels far away. Victory, when it comes swiftly, can feel exhilarating, but it doesn't always shape you. Instant wins might lift your name, but they rarely build your soul. It's the victories that come slowly, the ones earned through years of unseen effort, quiet perseverance, and countless internal battles that truly leave a mark on you. They change you from the inside out. There's a quiet dignity in waiting, not the kind of waiting that's passive or bitter, but the kind that stays present, that keeps working, keeps believing, keeps growing even when the results are nowhere in sight. This kind of patience isn't weakness. It's strength in its purest form. Because it takes far more strength to keep going without applause than to keep moving when the crowd is cheering you on. Those long seasons of silence and uncertainty, they aren't empty, they are full of preparation. Every moment you spent being overlooked was a moment your foundation was being strengthened. Every door that didn't open gave you time to build depth. Every not yet was a space to sharpen your character, your clarity, and your calling. The truth is, anything that is built to last takes time to create. Think about the most durable structures in the world. They require extensive planning, precise construction, and constant testing. Why? Because what lasts must be rooted. And the deeper the root, the greater the fruit. A rushed victory might look impressive, but without the root system beneath it, it will eventually collapse under pressure. When your victory finally comes after a long wait, it tastes different. It carries more meaning, because you remember every moment of struggle that led up to it. You remember the nights of doubt, the days of disappointment, and the hours where quitting felt easier than continuing. And yet you stayed, you endured, and that endurance gives your victory a richness that can't be manufactured. It also gives you perspective. When you've waited a long time for something, you tend to hold it with more care. You don't take it for granted. You know what it cost you, and that cost makes you more grateful, more grounded, and more intentional in how you carry the success that finally arrives. Long waits also teach you empathy. Because you've tasted delay, you're slower to judge others who are still in the middle of their own journey. You become more compassionate, more humble, more willing to encourage than compete. The wait not only changes your story, it reshapes your character. So if you're still waiting, still pushing through seasons of silence, still moving forward when it feels like nothing is shifting, hold on. Don't mistake the quiet for abandonment. Don't assume the delay is a denial. You may be closer than you think. Often, the longest waits come right before the greatest breakthroughs. Life has a way of testing your patience just before it blesses your persistence. When the victory does arrive, when the door finally opens, when the opportunity finally aligns, you'll walk through it with wisdom, strength, and grace that only the wait could have given you. And in that moment, you won't just be celebrating what you gained, you'll be honoring who you became along the way.